few weeks ago, I put out a newsletter. It got the biggest response to just about anything I have ever published. Short story, most podcasters should avoid video like your show depends on it, because in my opinion, it does. Now, I got so many positive comments that I felt like I really needed to put something else around this publicly out into the world. It just showed me how many podcasters are feeling this pressure, this horrible tension, this feeling that it's essential, that you can't live without it. That's video. So I want to talk about it, about video in podcasting and why it's a killer for your show rather than a salvation. Bear in mind, a lot of this is my opinion based on some stats, but humbly, my opinion is based on a lot of experience with a lot of podcasts. So here's my core warning. Podcasts are lovely, but fragile creatures. They're lovely because there's no content more engaging, more personal, more moving. But they're fragile because success is really hard in podcasting. You've got consistency, you've got constant improvement, content ideas, growth. So anything that makes a podcast more hard without exponentially increased chances of success is a liability. And I fear that video is killing more podcasts right now than anything else is and anything else ever has. Okay, so why? Well, first, there's an expectation right now that you have to do video or you'll fall behind. There's a perception that video is an absolute requirement to grow a podcast audience. This means that there are podcasts in waiting who aren't getting started today solely because they can't or they don't want to do video. There are people stopping their podcasts right now because they're trying to do video and it's killing them. Because here's what it really means to work with video in my experience. And no, AI is not helping much with this yet. It might get there, but not yet. I've tried a lot. But one, video takes longer to create and is more time consuming to edit by a lot. Two, long-form conversational video usually adds very little to the engagement. To add that engagement via video, it usually takes a really expensive studio, great lighting, an amazing setup, probably someone filmed for you to actually get all the angles and all that kind of stuff right, multi-cameras. All of that adds so much more difficulty, a load of cost, and tons of time to the editing. And three, scarily, a lot of video podcasting is listened to only in the background. That's Spotify playing in your pocket. So you're adding tons of work to your production for actual zero benefits to those people just listening to the end result. So I want to be clear here. I'm not against video in podcasting. I'm just against the narrative that it's now essential to do video. Otherwise, you can't make a podcast work. There is a point in video for some people. It can work really nicely, especially if any of the following apply. So for example, you're established, you have a bit of income, and you can afford the help and the gear and the editing. Or maybe you've got an audience already, you know what they want, and you can justify leveling up. Again, gear, help, all of that stuff. Or lastly, you're a bit of a nerd, like me, and you love playing with video, with the gear, with all of that stuff. You enjoy that. It's not just about the content. You actually like the process of making the video and playing with all that stuff. So if all of them or any of them are a fit for you or video's already working for you, that's brilliant. But I'd argue if you're in your first few dozen episodes, your first 20, 30 episodes, it's almost always better to start audio only, to hone your craft, to grow your audience, and to think about video later on. Or maybe not at all. You don't ever have to do it. Above all of that, don't let that added fear that video brings in, the added time, the added stress, all of that, don't let it stop you from getting your voice out. I mean, can you still succeed without video? Yes. Audio podcasts are still the vast majority, and the use case is as strong as ever. It might even be stronger, actually, as our on-screen attention is really squeezed. I mean, where do you listen? Is it in the background, driving the car, washing dishes, walking the dog? Those things are not going away anytime soon. So neither are audio-only podcasts. And if you're worried about the growth side, if it looks like all of the podcasts out there are only growing because they're doing video clips, it's absolutely nonsense. Loads of podcasts are out there growing just fine without video. Matthew and our team is putting together a growth guide right now based on this exact thing, a CAM growth guide. Sustainable, purposeful, effective, and it works for audio only, not relying on video or social media for that matter. So it's more than possible. In fact, it might even be more reliable these days since everyone's rushing so hard to promote using video and social media. Both of them are absolutely swamped. How many clips have you seen out there in the last 24 hours of a podcast? So check the link in the description below for a link to that article on growing without video or social media. But now, I just want you to get that mic out and don't worry about anything else. Just enjoy the fact that you can continue to use your script because no one can see it. Ignore that webcam and just don't give the slightest shit about how your hair looks today. That's only a single part of the power of audio. And it's definitely here to stay. If you want more on that, how to grow an audio show, how to make a great audio podcast, hit subscribe. Watch out for more videos from me. I hope this has helped you get rid of that video fear and get that show out there. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in a future one.